also a Bedford resident. I have great news. I attended a meeting today with the Commissioner of Education, and she said, you do not have to adopt Common Core. She said that. She said it's voluntary. Alton said no to Common Core. And I talked to an Alton school board member. They're going to raise their standards. First of all, thank you for allowing me to speak several times on occasion. I know that you had delayed this meeting because of the questions and answers that were put out, and Representative Sandblade addressed some of them. I want to address one, although I think I have to say some of them were kind of disappointing, the answers that were given. I'm going to read the question that was asked. There's a question asked, has anyone looked at or evaluated the new Smarter Balanced Assessment sample questions? If so, do they believe the Smarter Balanced Assessment is a good measurement tool for student proficiency in English and mathematics? The answer given by this district was yes. And then it referred to the Smarter Balanced website. And then it said to look at the sample of practice items and questions. So the answer was yes, that the Smarter Balanced test is good for our kids. It's still in the pilot stage. It's still being piloted. It's not even done. And then if you look at the pilot itself, and you look at what's been piloted, there's serious problems with it. So I'm really shocked that the answer was yes. I thought at the minimum they would have said it's being piloted right now. We can't answer that, or something to that effect. But here's some information. For instance, Professor James Milgram, who sat on the Math Validation Committee for Common Core, wrote a piece called Problems with Map Assessments and Consequences. Now, it will take me 20 minutes to read this, so I'm not going to go through it. I encourage you to go read it. It's called Problems with Map Assessments and Consequences. And he talks about the Smarter Balanced. And he talks about the problems that are being asked. They show very poor mathematical judgment. The first, and he's talking about some of the problems, the first focuses on an entirely minor standard, one that is unique to core standards, but one that requires considerable sophistication on the part of both student and teacher to put it into proper context. The first part just tests the standard directly, but the second part is very hard to comprehend in any way that would make mathematical sense. He goes on to say, analysis and discussion of the problems presented by the MAP project in one of the two draft high school tests submitted for public examination and intended to align with and properly evaluate student mastery of the core standards.
3 minutes.
May I continue? Thank you.
Yes, you may finish.
It turns out that the last 7 of the 10 major problems, as well as at least one of the first 10 routine problems, have serious issues that usually make problems nonsensical or scoring rubrics incorrect. He's highly critical of this test. So we have the Common Core mathematician saying this. And then if you look at Professor Stephen Wilson out of Johns Hopkins University, he wrote, SBAC math specifications don't add up. This is written in December 22nd, 2011. And he says of the Smarter Balance, the content specifications with content mapping for the summative assessments on the Common Core standards for mathematics, the feedback from Dr. Wilson, the conceptualization of mathematical understanding on which the SBAC will base its assessments is deeply flawed. Again, we had the school district say this is a good measurement tool. I can't go into all of this because it's going to take up too much of your time, but teachers are going to be evaluated on this test. Your teachers. Your school is going to be judged on it per SB 48. So what they're saying is this test itself is seriously flawed. That's in the pilot stage. I'm very concerned when your school administration is saying, yes, this is a good measurement tool. Really? Because if I was a teacher, I would not want to be measured on anything like this based on what they're saying right now. There was one other question on parent participation that was asked, if parents participated in the selection of the materials in the books and things like that. And I don't recall the exact answer, but it was basically no, that they referred to other things to choose the materials in the school. And I can understand that to a certain degree. You know, obviously you can't have 10,000 parents or whatever you have in this district participating in picking out a book. But it would be helpful to get some feedback. I mean, I read an article not too long ago where parents were upset about everyday math in the school district, one of the most horrible programs, I think, that are out there. Maybe if you got some feedback from parents, maybe if parents actually participated when you're picking out these programs, you could have avoided that mess. I mean, and I talked to some of the parents in Manchester that said their children were not prepared for high school level math. Well, of course not. That's not what everyday math does. It leaves students behind. The last point I do want to make, and I'll make it very brief and quick. I've been to this school committee meeting, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 times now. And I do thank you for your patience, and I do thank you for allowing me to speak. I do appreciate that. What I found the most disappointing is that I had to come here and present this information to you. You have administrators that you hired. Why are they not presenting this information to you? Why is it taking somebody like me or the people in this audience to bring you the critical information on Common Core? Shouldn't that be what these people are to do? If you know, ask any CEO or upper level management personnel out there, when they have their supervisors come to them, do they just want to be fed this information, or do they want to have information that says, here's the good, here's the bad, here's what we like, here's the problems? Why is it taking people in this audience to bring you this information? If I was paying somebody 6-figure salaries, I would want them to be bringing this to me. And so that way, you're not stuck with egg on your face down the road if this doesn't work out. You know, to me, this should be coming from your administrators. That's the most shocking thing. If this is standards only, then why during the presentations we were talking about teaching methods? The grades are going to change. The grading systems are changing all over New Hampshire and other parts of the country. The pedagogy, the teaching practices. Really, this is just about standards, and yet we're seeing this in school district in different states. We're all kind of following the same mode. It's the redesigning of public education. It goes beyond standards, way beyond it. And until you know exactly what that means, I would caution going forward with this. Thank you.